We got us a corpse and cartridge occasion.
Seconds ago, I just uploaded a live stream that was cut down into a video where I talked about this post here from Harada, basically where he called a urgent meeting discussing all of the backlash that season 2 has gotten. I will not talk about this at all because I did a video. You guys go watch that. You can hear me rant and rave about everything. As you see here in the Twitter section that highlights chaos that's going on, Twitter is still raving about Season 2. Tekken 8 Season 2 major balance change announced. The developers of Tekken 8 has announced significant changes to the game's mechanics in upcoming Season 2 update, scheduled April 1st. A notable reversal includes the removal of chip damage when players successfully execute a throwback, a decision influenced by community feedback. Other adjustments are being considered for future updates, such as changes to frame data for heat activation and heat dash. Just with this little bit here, the developers are collapsing under the pressure of veteran players. Now, I know in my comment section, a lot of casual players was like, screw those veterans, they can quit. But the developers seem to think otherwise. They do not want those guys to quit because they pulled that chip damage feature. Now, they have this section here about the patch notes, Season 2. He says, in Season 1, offensive options utilizing the heat system had become somewhat formulaic, making it difficult for players to express their individual playstyles. Additionally, the advancements for the attacking player during heat state were often too great, leading to one-sided match developments, an issue we acknowledge. With that in mind, Season 2 introduces a wide range of updates to the battle system and significant adjustments and new moves for each character, based on the following 3 guided principles. So far, so good. It sounds good. 1. Expanding strategic options with heat system. Activating heat provides a major advantage, creating opportunities to pressure opponents with mid, lows, and mix-ups. However, characters lacking in strong low attacks have been unable to fully capitalize on this advantage. To address this, we made it possible to transition into the crouching state after successfully heat engaging by inputting down, back, down, forward, down, giving players more options to apply pressure. Now, this change I do agree with because certain characters have an advantage with the old heat system, but now with this new low crouch running, it should be more balanced. It says additionally, certain characters can now perform heat smash or heat burst from unique stances, not all stances, enhancing combo variety and mind games during neutral. So this is something that I think Yoshimitsu will thrive with, and I know that's not what players want. So this is something that I'm definitely going to be experimenting with when the game goes live. For characters who previously had limited tactical options during heat, we introduced new heat exclusive moves to make their heat state more appealing and dynamic. This is definitely talking about what they showcased with Jun Kazama. Now, they didn't go into the details of what those moves were. They just said that she got new moves and they rearranged her heat smash to be a normal move, which confused a lot of people and was a part of the backlash that was created. Number 2, rebalancing offense and defense within the heat system. To address overly one-sided match dynamics, we reduced chip damage across the board during heat state, where its impact was most pronounced. Additionally, in game scenarios, it becomes common to secure KOs by landing chip damage via heat dash, followed by quick finishing moves, limiting creative decision making. To improve this, we lowered the additional chip damage when heat dash is blocked. This is something that I picked up on during the Tekken talk, but with all of the information they were talking about, it was tough to really pinpoint how much damage was chipped off, and I was just waiting until the Season 2 patch notes to fully pick up on it, but here they are emphasizing it. We've also made adjustments to how recoverable health works. Now, even damage taken on the ground will leave recoverable gauge. This not only softens offensive pressure of heat, but also makes the defensive merits more tangible, giving defending players more opportunities to recover and fight back. That's something that players highlighted, is how they weren't able to fight back in the current landscape. You get comboed, you get mix up, you're dead. So they're trying to give you more options to fight back. Fight back, fight back, fight back. Moreover, heat dash has long numerous benefits, particularly when used for heat engagers with power crush properties. However, this created gaps in power between characters that are often led to unbalanced mind games. To address this, we've removed power crush properties from heat engagers or replaced them with other moves, except in few cases where it's part of a character's identity. We'll see what that turns into. Exceptions include characters like Jack 8, Kuma, Pet. Those are some of the most egregious. The Bears, and they say Leo as well, whose unique stances retain power crush properties on their heat engagers. 3. Improvements in controls to bolster defensive techniques and provide more enjoyable play. Historically in Tekken, it was not possible to sidestep towards the foreground while in a crouching state. This created situations where, for example, a string that could be avoided by one player side became unavoidable from player 2 side, leading to imbalances in mind game unrelated to player skill or knowledge. This goes back to the age-old trope of it's better to play on player 1 than player 2. Mortal Kombat had some things like this as well. I don't know if Street Fighter did, but Tekken is finally trying to put an end to the problems they have. Additionally, quality of life improvements include input buffering at the start of the round, allowing players to execute a move the instant the round begins, input buffering sidestepping, even during recovery or stun states, so players can buffer moves and execute it seamlessly once able to react. I don't know if players will be upset about that, but it sounds like they're kind of reducing skill in a way, because instead of having to react immediately, you can now react in advance, and it will allow you to get out of it, right? I can't say for sure if this change is bad. I'll have to play the game and feel it for myself. These changes aim to improve the overall responsiveness and fluidity of control, helping players of all levels enjoy the game more comfortably. Regarding future adjustments, additionally, in order to address issues pertaining to large frame advantage on heat activation and the excessive strength of heat dash, the development team is currently in the final stages of making adjustments geared towards reevaluating aspects that impact the strength of offense, and also focus on improvements in defense. These adjustments are scheduled to be completed by the opening of TWT May 9th. So this is something that they also told us, is that they will do another update in May 9th. So we have more to discuss, more to come. Now they also have this section here where there's a lot more. Changes to throw mechanics. In Season 2, to address the difficulty of countering throws, the following adjustments have been implemented. 1. Loosen input window for throw breaks using 1+2. This change aims to reduce instances where players fail to break throws despite successfully predicting them, particularly due to the difficulty of executing simultaneous button presses. Wow. 2. Increase recovery for whiffed neutral throws. Oh, I love that. They increased the recovery by 6 frames. By increasing the recovery on whiff by 6 frames, players will have an easier time punishing opponents who miss their throws, especially when using crouch or back dashes to evade. I love that. However, considering that throws are often ineffective against opponents who can react and break them upon seeing the animation, the additional benefits are being provided to the players for attempting the throw. 3. When a throw break is successfully performed, the thrower will recover 1 point of recoverable health. 4. When a throw break is successfully performed, players that grab will receive 5 points of recoverable damage. Wow. Revised adjustments after community feedback. After the initial announcements, the developer team received feedback from players and reconsidered one of the proposed adjustments. It was concluded that the imposing of a disadvantage on a defender for executing a successful throw break would be excessive, as a throw break is a high skill mechanic that reflects players' practice and proficiency. Woohoo, that's dope. The players' backlash works. It worked. As such, the following specs will be scrapped in an upcoming patch. When the throw break is successfully performed, players that grab will receive 5 points of recoverable health. That is crazy. That's how it should have been from the start. What was the ideal of punishing skill? I didn't get that. While these changes will be applied as soon as possible, there might be a slight delay following the release of Season 2. Adjustments are scheduled and complete. Okay, it says, in Season 2, I have spoken in the Tekken Talk Live and interview videos about the upcoming defensive improvements. However, I feel that I haven't fully conveyed the details and significance of these changes. Season 2 introduces main system changes to sidestepping and movement mechanics. You can now sidestep towards the foreground. Okay, we read that already. I would like to explain how these changes will affect matches using video samples. Of course, I fully understand that the effectiveness of these adjustments may vary depending on the factors of like character size, their sidestep, sidewalk performance. Okay, we get it, right? There's also maybe scenarios where a safer, simpler option that sidestepping is available. Please keep in mind that this video are simply referencing the examples to demonstrate how increased side, step, and walk options will contribute to defensive improvements. And we have this long text here where It says Jin versus Nina. The first example involves left side Jin getting hit by Nina's stiletto heel down back 3. In this situation, Nina's uppercut jab is greater than jab down forward 1-2 is a staple follow-up that takes advantage of her frame advantage. Until season 1, a character could only perform move sideways into the background from a crouching state, making it extremely difficult to evade the uppercut. Jab using the sidestep background. However, in season 2, since it's possible to perform a sidestep towards the foreground from a crouching state, evading an uppercut jab becomes significantly easier compared to using sidestep in the background. As a result, Nina needs to consider the move that counters the sidestep towards the foreground, limiting her staple options despite her having a frame advantage. This gives Jin more defensive options, making it harder for Nina to apply pressure consistently. Now let's look at the next one. The second example features Lydia on the left side after landing a move. If it scores a counter hit, it guarantees a follow-up with the flash elbow, leading into a heat activation. It's a rare move with crouch status that can be used to launch strong offense, making it quite viable. However, on normal hit, Lydia is left -4, meaning that the opponent's scenario would usually retaliate with a 13 frame left uppercut. In this scenario, when Lydia is on the left side, she can easily evade Steve's left uppercut using down forward 1, using a sidestep into the background. However, this situation changes drastically when she's on the right side, where the sidestep into the background is not an option. With season 2, as shown in the video, Lydia can now sidestep towards the foreground even from a crouching state, allowing her to evade opponents' attacks and create situations where the opponent is at risk. So you can sidestep both ways in season 2 and punish. Now, they also have a breakdown here of Kazuya. Final scenario differs from the previous examples, focusing on how sidestep can create a significant risk for opponents using multiple hit moves. When an opponent's health is low, uninterruptible multi-hit attacks that mix low, mid, or low-high hits become particularly effective for finishing them off. While using a low parry can be a viable option, if the opponent times their attack well after your ukemi, you may be forced to deal with it. A common example of this is Zafina's down back 4-2, which often uses a scenario where the opponent tries to chip away at the remaining health. When anticipating the opponent will commit to both hits of the move, even knowing the second hit can be avoided with sidestep left. Season 1 presented a limitation in which players couldn't sidestep in the foreground after blocking the initial hit. However, introduction of season 2, players can now sidestep into the foreground directly from a crouched state. This means regardless of the side they're on, they can effectively evade the second hit and deliver optimal damage, adding the significant risk from opponents attempting to finish off with moves. Season 1, it was very unfair, player 1 and player 2. And this was the thing about online. Online, you couldn't really tell what side the player is on. Everyone could play player 1. Everyone could play player 2. But in reality, in the game, there is a set player 1 and there is a set player 2. Like on Clive's stage, this is most noticeable, where player 2 will be looking at the brick foundation, and then the player 1 will be looking at the two titans fighting in the background. Some stages you could identify who is the real player 2, but sometimes you could not. So changes like this will just make it more fair, more balanced, more consistent as well.